Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Empowered by UMortgage podcast. I am joined by absolutely one of the best today. We have got our VP of Marketing, Corie Meredith, here. She and I have been at UMortgage since the very beginning together. We're going to go back and talk about that. We are going to talk about all things Empowered. We are going to talk about our awesome retreat that's coming up in Scottsdale, Arizona in November. We're going to cover a lot of bases today. So I am so excited to have you join us, Corie. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. I know, Karin, this is something that we've been talking about for quite some time, and to watch Empowered and this podcast and really just the community, watch it come to life, but not only come to life, like truly flourish these past couple of months has been really a passion project and something that I'm so proud of. And I just have to give a huge shout out to you, because I know how much effort and how much heart you've put behind this project, and to see it come to life has been so amazing to see. So yeah, I'm very excited to dive into all things Empowered, to touch upon the retreat that we're doing for the very first time and how it's going to be something that we'll start to do on a regular basis, and everything else that we have to explore. We go way back, so let's dive in.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, I think it's important to talk about your role and how it's evolved. Both of our roles have really evolved over the last few years. And it's been such a pleasure to just work with you, but also really watch you grow and thrive and morph into this like just amazing visionary within the company. And you have just grown so much. And I would love to talk about, you're the VP of marketing, but you're not the flyer girl. Okay. Like, let's talk about really your role within the organization, because I just think it's so amazing to see that you can, come to an organization like this that can really tap into like what you are best at and how to get you to like grow and blossom into this really amazing visionary within the company. And I'd love for you to share just a little bit about your role and what you do for all of us every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, thank you so much. It's so kind. I'll take us back a little bit to add some context and flavor, and then we'll kind of set the stage for where we're going and how we've kind of gotten here. But I was very fortunate to meet Anthony almost 5 years ago at this point, which is super crazy because time flies when you're building amazing things.
Yeah.
But I started working at AIM, the Association of Independent Mortgage Experts, back before COVID. So a year before COVID happened, and I joined the team as a social media coordinator. So I've truly have worked my way up, but I would have never asked for it any other way. You get exposed to so many different things, and your willingness and ability to learn is amazing. And truthfully, like, it is priceless. So being in that role for roughly 2 years, I was able to, hone in on a lot of different things and kind of like ease my curiosity. I was very curious about social media in general, and that's obviously my background, social media marketing, but things in the digital realm of digital paid advertising and just learning about the mortgage industry at large was super exciting to me. And fortunately, AIM was also a startup. So when I joined, there was not that many team members. We were located in Philadelphia, but you had so much room to grow and just so much room to try new things, to learn and to fail. And having the power to fail has really been something that I have latched onto because it's how you grow. And I think especially in marketing, like, there's not a right and a wrong to do a lot of things. A lot of it changes every single day, all the time.
Yeah, it's trial and error.
Exactly. It's trial and error, and it's having the support system around you that lifts you up when there may be that error that says, okay, that might not have worked as well as we had hoped it to, but what do you do to get back on track? You just try something new and you adapt and you change. So Anthony has provided a lot of that framework and groundwork for me to have that comfortability to go out there and try different things.
And the flexibility to fail and to figure it out, like, that's so key about being around other leaders that can go, hey, we're going to give Corie this rope. We're going to give her this opportunity. We're not going to tell her how to do it. We're going to watch and see her process and give her that like flexibility and freedom to really figure it out. Because guess what? She is going to, with that much freedom, do a heck of a lot better than I could, because this is what the lane that I need to stay in.
Yeah, and you just learn from it and through it all. And so that has been a really compelling point. And when Anthony brought me over to UMortgage, we didn't have a marketing team. Like we came in and
you were the marketing team.
Yeah, I was the marketing team. We had 2 people who like put in their 2 weeks, almost my second day of work. And I was like, okay, well, guess we're building. And we did that. We really built the team from the ground up. And that was something that was so scary to me at first. I was like, I've never done this before. And that's kind of a common theme of my life and in my role is like, I'm tackling new things for the first time every single day. And that's something that I like to challenge my team members with today of like, I don't have all of the right answers. You don't have all of the right answers. We're going to do our research and do our due diligence to, get feedback and to dive into different things, but you don't know unless you try. So it's kind of that evolution of, I always say this, but progress, not perfection, because
totally
enhancements, but if you never start, there's nothing to make enhancements to. So yeah, I was very fortunate to come in and kind of build the marketing team from the ground up. And another thing that Anthony constantly shares with his leaders is he empowers you to be the CEO of your division. So talk about the freedom to fail and the freedom to grow and to learn. Like that really was it. So I took that to the fullest extent. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do just that. I'm going to make the decisions. And if they're the wrong decisions, then I'm going to pay the benefit or I'm going to pay the repercussions of them. If they're the right,
you're going to learn from them and you're going to adapt and evolve and get better. And that's like when you don't take those risks, when you just play it safe all the time, there's no growth in that. There's no expansion in that. There's no scaling in that. And we are scaling a badass, amazing business that is unlike anything that I've ever been involved in. And you have to be willing to have those people that can take the calculated risk. I mean, you're not being crazy, but and also then the leadership to support those ideas and say, hey, let's give it a try. And I've seen you do that as a leader and as a CEO of your team saying, hey, Jake, let you run with that idea. That's a great one. Let's see how it evolves for you. And I'll support you throughout the process.
Absolutely. It helps them to grow. It challenges them. It gives them passion. It gives them purpose. And those are all things that I had. And so I'd never want to reap that of them. Like I never want to shelter them too much where, they don't have the opportunity to grow or to explore, or to try new things, because that is how you grow and how you evolve and how you get better. So yeah, it's been an evolution ever since then. I think there's a lot of power in being naive as well. So
totally. I totally agree.
Yeah, like if I was to look back on where we are today as an organization, not even where I am today, I would never think that we would have grown as fast as we did in the direction that we did, has had so much success as we did, not because I didn't believe, but just because I had no clue. And there's power in that because I was able to kind of take risks that I didn't really know were risky at the time, if that makes sense. And some of them paid off and, and that's how you kind of grow. But I think not knowing that you can fail in certain areas or not being afraid to fail in those areas actually pays off a lot because you're growing and you're being uncomfortable without having that sort of fear or overthinking a lot of situations.
Well, and you don't even know how incredible it is. And then I come from the exact opposite end of that spectrum where, having been in the mortgage industry for 24 years, I am seeing our growth and our evolution and everything that we've accomplished. And I know what an incredible feat it is and how unique and different it is and how uncharacteristic it is. And I'm excited for the next 5-10 years because I look around and there are not a bunch of, old dudes that are about to retire in 5 minutes. There are a bunch of young, excited, like fresh people that are like ready to take the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years by storm. And that excites me. And I just think that's so unique because not very many mortgage companies look like we look. And I think that just says a whole heck of a lot about our opportunity and what's coming next for UMortgage.
Absolutely. I mean, and there's so much when you are surrounded by people that are aligned with you, and getting that alignment is not an easy feat. Like building a business is not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. One of my favorite quotes is nothing from having comes easy. So it really is just putting in that constant work and just going through the motions each and every day. Like it is an uphill battle and it's a grind to get there. But all of those small victories and small wins, you have to celebrate them because no, you're not at the top of the mountain just yet, but you reached a new peak for yourself and where you're at. And exactly, never. But if you look at the whole mountain, you're going to get so overwhelmed and you're just
Totally.
going to completely shut off. But if you go through the motions day by day, you stay consistent, you keep your head down, you work hard, you stay humble, you keep ego out of it, you align yourself with people who are similar and like-minded to you, and you just have a good heart, you care about the people and you care about the projects
You
you're
ask
working on.
questions, like be inquisitive, like always ask. You know, we had open house training with Andrew Chavez this morning, who is just
awesome,
so amazing. And you know, the whole sales team came together and it was 2 solid hours of training. Tomorrow we're doing another 2 solid hours of training. And just to see the innovation and that just one small piece and playbook of the value that we are pouring into our people for that growth was incredible. And one key thing that he said is just take one step forward, just 1 foot forward. Like you don't think of all, 26.2 miles when you're running a marathon. You just put that next foot forward. You make that next phone call, do that next thing. And those little decisions building up over time is what overall changes, moves mountains, makes progress, like builds companies. So you don't have to look at the whole thing to really be effective, but just put 1 foot in front of the other and then do it again and again.
100%. And that is, I think, the true testament to the journey as well. So kind of going back to where I've been and kind of where we are today is when I came in to build the team, like I said, we didn't really have anyone. So you didn't even know where to start. I was like, I know kind of what I need to get started, but you just evolve from there and you continue to grow and continue to learn. And so I've been in a marketing team leader role. I've been in a director role. I'm fortunate enough to be in a VP role now, but the team has also evolved with me. And without them, I always say this, but like we would not be where we are today. And so I think it's super impactful too, because we grew so big because we had so many needs. And then that's when we realized, okay, we need to actually add some structure and add some direction and give people revised job descriptions and job roles to make sure that they feel supported and they feel like they're on the right track. So today we actually have 3 divisions of the marketing team that are focused on different areas of the business. One of those being the creative team, which this is where you see all of the video and all of the graphics, and they bring things to life and they really translate it into the UMortgage brand that you know and love, and the pinks and purples and the Empower brand and all that stuff. We also have the brand team, and the brand team is hyper focused on social media, on paid advertising, on internal, external communications, email marketing. They do events. They help with our public relations efforts. So they stay very busy behind the scenes as well. And then our 3rd division is our product team, and they're more focused on our website. They are helping to build our Tempo application, which has kind of been under the project umbrella name of Project Pac-Man for quite some time. But we're
I'm excited about this one.
You're in it.
I'm in it. I love it.
We have a solid group of pilot users right now, and we're ready to make that next step. So with the rollout of Level Up sales coaching for the fall semester, which I know you and Kim touched on last week. So if you guys didn't listen to that episode, you have to go listen to it right now.
Absolutely.
We're going to have that application, completely proprietary technology that UMortgage has developed from literally the ground up, as a solution for our loan officers so that they can go in there and they can start tracking their sales activities. And we have a whole roadmap, 18-month roadmap, plan, vision, everything for the future of Tempo. But at its baseline right now, like we are solving the need to track sales activities that then lead to business results. And Level Up has been a huge, huge advantage for our loan officers. Actually, just this Monday, we did a daily sales huddle on comparing some of those data points.
Metrics, yeah.
The metrics don't lie. And so when you see UMortgage loan officers outperforming our counterparts within the industry, whether they be broker or retail, and just the overall average, and then you put that same metric and you compare it to the Level Up loan officers, and the Level Up loan officers are now outperforming the UMortgage loan officers, it creates this self-accountability and also this like, why wouldn't you invest in yourself? Why wouldn't you sign up for Level Up sales coaching? It's only going to help you not only level up your business, but also your life. Like, come on.
Well, and it's so interesting because we all need community. We all need accountability. We need someplace to go where we can say, hey, Corie, I'm struggling in this part of my business. Undoubtedly, people are having the same struggles and concerns. And when you have that collaborative space where you can come and share and talk and grow, but also hold people accountable and also have like tactical things that they need to be doing to be accountable to themselves and their families to grow. It's just totally different than any sales organization I've ever been involved in. And there have been a few things, but it's reserved for like the top 10 to 20% of the organization to pour this much intentionality and resources into everybody that wants to show up and wants to do the work and wants to be part of something bigger and better. Like that's totally unique and different. And just like you said, the proof is in the pudding. The metrics are there. People that are involved with UMortgage and doing their level up sales coaching, like they outperform on locks, on fundings, on everything that drives income to your family and to your livelihood. It's right there. And it's pretty awesome to see.
It's totally awesome to see. And I couldn't agree with you more about the community. Like that is one thing that I love about UMortgage so much. Not only like the UMortgage community, the EmpowHERed community, all of the sub communities that we have too. But one thing that I've really have learned over the years is that people want to do the right thing. People want to succeed. They want to work hard, but sometimes they just don't know how or what. And so that's kind of what Level Up offers and what we're trying to build within the Tempo environment as well is like, we know you want to succeed. So we're going to give you that playbook of these are the steps that you have to take in order to have predictable outcomes that will better enhance your life. Because like I said, everyone wants to do the right thing. They all want to get to the next step, but it's just like, okay, what do I do next? And we're
to your point earlier, like looking at that mountain in the future and the feeling of overwhelm and the feeling of like, I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. Like, I know you felt that way. I feel that way every single day. And if you just take those little small steps and you have a community and an environment and deep relationships that you can trust and lean on to say, Corie, what do I do in the next hour that's going to move the needle and move my business forward? Like the things that I can control. So you're not like, how do I close 20 loans next month? It's like, let's focus on making 5 phone calls in the next 20 minutes. Like those things where you just feel like you're in control, but that you've got support and that you've got people that genuinely care, that are there, like backing you up. And that is what really starts to go, okay, I can do this. And then you start to build momentum. And once you have momentum, you've got some speed. And guess what? It's easier to keep it going than it is to start it up. And we just build on that.
It's the flywheel effect. I mean, it's in one of the books. I want to say I'm going to mess it up, but it's the flywheel effect. It's like, what's the one thing that got the flywheel spinning? And it's like, it's not one thing.
Yeah.
A combination of things over and over again. Those small, like you had said previously, it's just one step in front of the other. And then once it starts spinning, it just keeps spinning. It's on a roll. It's good to go. But that's the other thing about the community too, that I really love is that everyone or a lot of people have very different experiences. So you can relate to people. And I think that before you get momentum, you have to get confidence. And there's a level of insecurity or imposter syndrome that I think a lot of people experience, myself definitely included, where having that community and having that safe space to go to is great, but only if you have trust in that community. Do you feel comfortable asking the questions or being vulnerable to be like, I don't actually know what to do. You know, I may have closed X amount of loans last month, or maybe I'm embarrassed to say I didn't close any loans last month or whatever the situation is. But there's someone in the community that you can relate to that has had a shared experience to you, because the beauty of being all over the country is that everyone kind of has different experiences. They work in different markets. They work with different personality types, realtors, partners, all the rest. And so that's the value of kind of being so big, but also so small at the same time. And what I mean by small is just having that access and having those shared resources where you can go to and gain that confidence, not only within your direct resources of your community, but also
across the country.
I can do it.
Yeah. And I think that's what's so important about the EmpowHERed initiative, and what's so important about bringing different people from different walks of life, different ethnicities, different genders, like bringing us together to UMortgage, because when you have a different perspective joining a conversation, you bring in all kinds of different ideas that you would never have if we all looked, act, and did the same and came from the same place and had the same experiences and grew up the same. It's like that doesn't lend to where we're going and the vision of this organization, where we bring in all of these diverse ideas so that we can grow bigger and more complex in like the best ways while still staying true to our core values, because we are diverse and because we have those different perspectives, and acknowledging that sometimes these are, you know, softer, quieter voices. Sometimes this looks a little bit different from this perspective, but it's so critical to have that safe space. And that's yet another thing that I love about EmpowHERed, is that we're giving, you know, maybe putting a microphone in front of some of those quieter voices so that we can really get that perspective and grow and be better.
Absolutely. And it helps them grow and be better too, because you never grow inside of your comfort zone. And it's obviously a cliche, but it's good to kind of continue pushing yourself and trying new things and being resourceful. And maybe it's because I love brainstorming and collaboration so much. It's like kind of what sparks me. But going back to your point of like all of those shared experiences and shared ideas and having that voice is like, the more diversity you have in those conversations and the more people feel the ability to open up and share ideas, like there's no such thing as a bad idea. It doesn't mean that you have to act on it immediately, but an idea leads to another idea, which leads to another idea, which potentially leads to a product or a vision or a success or whatever the situation is. So I'm glad that we can create a platform for not only the women of UMortgage, but every one of UMortgage feel comfortable sharing their feedback. And, you know, feedback is obviously something that we value very much here. But I think a lot of other companies do as well. So maybe others can relate to this that are potentially listening, but getting the feedback is truly the qualitative measurement of how you can get better. So I'm just glad that we have a platform where majority of people feel comfortable. And of course, we're always still aiming to gain that trust so that more and more people can feel comfortable. But the only way that you gain that trust is if you show them that you're listening, not just say that you are listening. So I'm excited to continue that as well. It's a own the moment and something that we're focusing on as an organization too, but I'm excited about it.
Well, and one of the ways that we grow is by having differences of opinion and, you know, going through those differences of opinion so that you can really like have hard conversations that lead us to be better. And I know that last week, the leadership of UMortgage got together in Philly and had some really, really awesome meetings. And I would love to chat with you about, hey, what does that look like? Like, getting together quarterly and having those conversations? What are you focusing on? Like, what are the goals? What's coming next? Like, what comes out of those? How does that benefit the rest of the group and the rest of the team as a whole?
Absolutely. I mean, so much comes out of those. And I will say that there's beauty in healthy conflict and healthy debate, because it goes back to the fact that everyone cares so much and so deeply. And so a lot of those conversations were built around that healthy conflict of saying, you know, I think this is the way that we should do things, or I think that our company would value from this, or I think that this is what we want, or not what we want, what our team members want, or what our team members need. And so you feel comfortable vocalizing those things and talking about them collectively to come to a decision. And I think the most impactful thing about a leadership team is being able to, once you come to that decision, have that forefront and support each other once you leave that room. And so that kind of determines your strength as well. But a lot of those meetings were not focused. They're a quarterly planning session, but they're not focused just on Q4. They're focused on 2025 and where we're going for the entirety of next year, setting our goals to set that stage and set that precedent so that we can start working, we can start taking baby steps towards that mountain that we're looking to accomplish, to continue with the analogies that we've been talking about. And a lot of those things, again, like this quarter is going to be focused on setting the foundation. So when it comes to things like tempo, as I mentioned, like we really want to create templates and frameworks so that you can set that stage and you can take those baby steps so that when the flywheel starts spinning, you can really run. And that as we are taking a slower approach to make sure that our foundation is stable and strong and we're building the house, we're not trying to, Mike Ferris had this analogy one time, but he was like, you're not trying to build the stairs as the concrete is still drying. You're waiting for the concrete to dry and then you're building on top of that. So it's the same approach here. Like we're always going to be consistent with operational excellence. Like operations is the heart of our business. So putting effort and support around that area of the business. Marketing, of course, is here, especially from the technology realm, where we're continuing to build on tempo and see what other features we can get involved. But user adoption is going to be huge, because if you have an application that no one uses, what's the point?
Yep.
So that's a big piece of it, at least for this quarter, to kind of align with our roadmap and our needs. And then just other areas of the business as well, making sure we're staying financially stable, financially savvy, that we have audits in place, internal audits, that we have, any sort of resources that we need to just make financially smart, and also we can avoid sort of issues
and
up front.
Longevity.
Exactly. So some of the things aren't super sexy, but like, hey, you good.
That's what's so important about planning. And so many organizations, huge organizations, or any level, have no plan. They don't know what the destination looks like. Anthony and I spent a lot of time this week talking about vision and talking about, we need to all have clarity around what the future looks like, because you don't start here and just arrive at a final destination without having clarity around where you're trying to go. Because guess what? That when you are 1 degree off course in any direction, you can end up on the completely, other side of the world. So it's so incredible that there's so much like consistency and persistence around like that vision, in terms of, this is where we're going. Let's not get caught up in the weeds on these things, because they have nothing to do with here. And you can get very easily distracted or drawn off course by these urgent, unimportant things that creep into all of our days. And you end up putting the important, not urgent things on the back burner. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Well, if you keep doing it tomorrow, it never gets done, and it gets thrown to the side. And those are the things that are important, because that is getting us to our destination, which is all part of our vision, which is what we should be focused on.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. And there was 3 adjectives that were like key themes throughout our couple days together last week. And it was simplification, alignment, and cohesion. And it was all about rowing in that same direction. I often think about this visual that actually Renee Rodriguez shown us at one of our events a couple of years ago, but it was a big arrow. And inside the big arrow, there was a bunch of different little arrows, and they were all pointing a different way. And it was like, everyone wants the same thing, kind of, but no one really knows how to get there. And that's how you create a lot of confusion amongst your organizations. You can think of your big arrow as UMortgage, and inside, everyone knows that we are going forward, but they're not sure what forward might look like, right? Not that clarity.
Clear.
And there's not that true vision. So as a leadership team, our job too is to make sure that that vision is clear, and make sure that it's communicated and understood by our team members. And I think a lot of the times, if you ask any UMortgage team member what our 5 core values are, they can rip that off the cuff. Like, they can say that in their sleep, and that's amazing.
Which is pretty awesome.
Amazing. A huge step in the right direction. But we need to do the same thing over and over again for our vision and our road to our goal, and what our goals really are. And so that was a lot of the conversations this last week in this quarterly session of, how can we stay consistent amongst ourselves? How can we stay aligned and make sure we know what areas of the business are working on, make sure we know what the focuses are, and how do we not fall into shiny object syndrome, is what I like to call it. It's that fun, sexy stuff that you're like, ooh, this would be really, really cool. And as an executor, that's me, I love the shiny objects. I'm like, ooh, but just because it's fun doesn't mean that it's needed right now. And oftentimes distraction. So it was really kind of honing in on those, like, let's slow down. Let's take it step by step. Let's make sure that we are planning and building so that we can get to the shiny objects, and they will come. But we need to make sure that the foundation is there, of course, first.
Well, and then to your point, communicating that and having that lead into all facets of our organization, the leadership and, the executive team, you and I can understand these things and feel them and believe them and live them. But if we aren't communicating that to our people and having those conversations in our recruiting meetings and delivering that message on our platforms on social media, if we aren't then extending that beyond ourselves, then we're doing a disservice to the rest of the organization, and getting that alignment, but then effectively communicating that so that everybody in that big arrow understands their importance and their role within the organization, like that's really when you start getting that momentum. And I see it, like it's already really starting to happen, and it's exciting.
I completely agree. I mean, that it really is where the momentum comes into play. And I think staying disciplined and staying on course is another key area that, you know, a pro and a con, right, of working at UMortgage since its beginning is that we have moved so quickly. And we've been nimble enough to adapt to changing markets, to changing directions, to changing focuses. And it has allowed us to grow as quickly and accomplish as many things as we have. But as we continue to mature, we also need to stay disciplined and stay on track. So that's kind of where the shiny object syndrome comes into play. But having that clarity and knowing that direction and knowing that this is the framework and the foundation of how we get there will help us to stay disciplined, so that when things come up or when rates drop even further or when something happens, we're not as reactive because we're staying the course and it's well defined. And it also allows for our team members, as you mentioned too, to understand and to be bought in, because when you care about something, you give it all that much more. And that's something that I absolutely love with my team and kind of how I've led their individual career progressions. Like one of your most frequently asked questions you get if you ever interview anyone, you always ask them, do you have any questions for me? And they'll always say, like, what does this role look like for me? Like, what is my career progression? And maybe it's a cop out, I don't know, but I always love to say, put you in the driver's seat of that, because I want you to feel excited and passionate and doing things that you like to do, especially in a marketing role. Like, if you say you work in marketing, it's like, okay, well, much more general can you be? Like, there's a million things that you can do in marketing.
I mean, you just explained the running of 3 totally different divisions that you are in charge of and spearheading. And it's like, if you are putting marketing in this box, like you are missing the beat.
Yeah, exactly. And so I love to give them the opportunity to explore and to try new things, because personally, I've learned a lot more about what I like from doing things I know I didn't like.
Totally.
So you grow and you learn and you try new things and you're like, that one might not be for me. Okay, that one piques my curiosity. Let me try that again. Let me see. And then you can evolve over time. And I always love to share the story of our junior UI UX designer, Brandon, because Brandon came to UMortgage. He's actually our 10-year marketing team member. He started at UMortgage before I did. And he was an intern. He was a summer intern. And then after his internship ended, he was a graphic designer intern. He came on the team as a part-time graphic designer while he finished school. And then after he graduated school, he came on to the team as a full-time graphic designer. And he was in that role for about a year and a half until we started to realize that he was really, really good at UI UX design, and that designing websites and understanding user behaviors and noticing what experiences would elevate that experience for the user or simplify it or one less click to that end result. Like it was an act. Like he was very, very good at that. And now he has evolved into a junior UI UX designer. But I would have never been able to curate that career path for him if we didn't go through those motions of exploring all of those different possibilities. Because if it's a graphic designer, you can hone in on a lot of different areas, UI UX being one of them. So I think that's kind of the power too of working in an environment like UMortgage, because you have the ability to try a lot of different things, being surrounded again in that essence of it's okay to fail.
Visionary people,
get better every day. We're going to learn from this. We're going to try again. Let's improve this experience. Let's take the feedback. Let's implement it and move on from it. So it's been an evolution, and one that's never going to stop, right? Because you're continuing to climb the mountain. But it's been really, really fun to not only watch his growth, but so many others on the team that I could just go on for hours about.
Well, and I think too, when you're doing things that you're good at and you're doing things that you love to do, you're just in general happier, more productive. You want to pour more of yourself and your ideas into that thing, and being aligned with an organization that not only recognizes that, but supports it and then gives it the freedom and flexibility to flourish is a pretty incredible thing. The other thing that's interesting is the opposite of that, which is if people aren't interested in, alignment or our core values or doing sales coaching or some of the things, it's like, maybe that's not a model match, and that's okay too, because that is how we are going to get from good to great. is by being really true to those values and to say, hey, this is who we are. This is where we're going. And it's okay if that's not who you are and not where you're going. Like, let's explore that, but it's okay to not be that as well. And that's okay too.
Absolutely. And I think, we've really have gone through those motions as UMortgage in general. Like when we first came on, we needed to grow our team. We needed to grow our sales organization. So we welcomed pretty much any loan officer to the team to join the team. And since then, we've gotten a lot more specific on the types of people and the quality of loan officer that we want to be a part of our environment. And it goes back to, again, like you said, the core values, the mission, the vision, the work ethic, and just the overall alignment of the type of people, like right person, right seat. And actually, I don't know if you listened to this episode, but Anthony did a podcast with Chris.
I did. I loved it.
Me too. It was so great. And one of the questions that Chris asked Anthony was, why would a loan officer want to come to UMortgage? And Anthony's response was quite literally, that's so funny that you asked, because I spend the majority of my days telling loan officers why they shouldn't come to UMortgage, because that's how focused we are on, we know what we're looking for and we know what will fit our vision and our mission and our future. And so I think having that clarity has really, really helped us. I mean, if you look at the metrics, back to those, we have less loan officers now than we did last year because we stopped recruiting and we focused on putting our efforts into making our loan officers stronger and helping them. And we are closing more loans now than we had in the past. So it's just a commitment to really focusing on, the type of people and also investing in the tools and resources that are going to make them successful.
I totally agree with you 100%. And it's so funny because I loved that episode with Chris and Anthony. I thought it was fantastic, but I've shared that with a couple recruits and I've said, listen, Anthony can be a polarizing guy. I want you to see him, feel him, get to know him so that you know this person and you start to begin to create a relationship, because that's important. And I want you to see who he is and how much he's grown and his vision for us and for our company. And I just thought that was something different that I had never done before. But I think it's really, really powerful, because guess what? Not every company is for every person. And if you are trying to be everything to everybody, then you don't have clarity around your identity. And how do you build a brand around a no identity? How do you build a vision around no identity? You don't. We are crystal clear about who we are and where we're going. And that is why we're going to be successful, because we are bringing in the right people that align with that vision, with their unique perspectives, so that we can continue to grow and have lots of information and data so that we can base future decisions. But that's what we're doing. And that's why it's so special and why it's so different and why we love where we work.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm going to shift gears because I want to talk about Empower as well, but it's the beauty of the Empower group too. Like we are now in a spot where we have the right people who care about the things that we too care about, that we're able to establish a community like Empowered by UMortgage. We're excited to have our first retreat in November.
Oh, I can't wait.
This year, but having that group and watching it come to life. I know I started the conversation with this, but really seeing it take off from this idea that you presented of like, I have this passion for what this could be. It's going to be awesome. Just trust the process. And like now we're in the process.
Totally.
Really, really awesome to see, and just to watch the women come together to connect on our Empower hours that we have once a month, to see how vulnerable they are and how they open up and how much they have developed, friendships inside of that community. It's just really special.
Well, and it's so funny because we didn't know what that looked like or how it was going to evolve. And, Anthony he said it perfectly. He's like, we gave you guys no resources, no direction. You just said, this is something I'm passionate about and I'm going to go do it and ask for forgiveness, not permission. And now we've created this amazing community, this awesome infrastructure. We're doing a retreat in Arizona that's going to be just high end. I cannot even wait to start sharing the details with everybody. We've got some amazing lender sponsorships that are partnering with us to bring just a really special experience to the women of UMortgage. And hopefully we get to do this year after year, and it becomes something that we can build off of as another just special way for us to connect and bond and grow and to be vulnerable and to have relationships and to, continue to grow on those.
Absolutely. And I think, having the partnerships with some of our lending sponsors is really awesome, because we've been very honest about where we're at with this first retreat. And that is, we're not going to have a ton of people there because it's purposeful and it's intentional. And we want it to be an intimate setting. We want it to be we want to result it. The goal of this is to result in more, stronger, deeper relationships.
Yeah.
And so you can do that by doing things together, sharing experiences, breaking bread, learning with and from each other. And then for those sponsors to also see the value in that, I think is what true partnership is all about. So I'm super excited to get together. Like I said, it's only going to be like 20, 25 women. We're capping it at that because we want it to be that more intimate setting. It's going to be a combination of different things. So we'll have your welcome receptions and your keynote speakers and your panels and your live podcasting brought to you by UMortgage.
Workshopping tactics, a little exercising, a little sunshine for the soul.
Bingo. And that was the other point I wanted to call out. Like, we want to do hiking. We have hiking planned. We have a fireside chat planned. So it's going to be more than just these professional settings. Of course, the professional settings are great so that you can learn and continue to evolve, but you do those a lot within the mortgage industry. You have a lot of different conferences. And so we want this to be unique and special and something that is exclusive to the Empowered by UMortgage community. And the reaction that we've gotten from the women so far has been overwhelmingly, they're excited about it. They're ready for it. Their already spots are almost filled up for it. So
I know, totally.
For the first time. And we got to
say thank you. Thank you for being a part of this. Let us spoil you a little bit. Let us do some really wonderful, fun, amazing things together to build on where we see us going in the future. And if next year 250 women come together for our Empowered by UMortgage Summit, that will just be even more incredible. Ms. Corie, I appreciate you so much for joining me today. I love, love, love working with you and doing life with you. And I'm so excited for our future. And I can't wait for our next Empowered planning session. It's coming up on Friday.
It is. I'm excited too. Thank you for having me. And I just can't tell you enough how proud I am of you. Not to say that this is surprising by any means. I've always known that you are an absolute rock star and someone who accomplishes amazing things. But to be your partner in crime in this experience has been my honor. So thank you for everything that you've taught me as well, because I love learning from you too.
I do too. I just appreciate you a ton. Well, have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks again. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye everyone. Thank you.